Every empire believes its wealth will last forever. Spain, in the 1500s, didn't just believe it proved it, or so it thought. Because in that century, Spain wasn't just a country. It was a phenomenon, the first truly global empire. From the dizzying heights of the Andes and Potosi to the bustling ports of Seville, a river of silver flowed across the oceans in quantities the world had never imagined. Every year, fleets of massive galleons sailed from the New World, their holds groaning under the weight of treasure coins, ingots, bullion mountains of metal that glittered under the Spanish sun, and as that silver poured into Spain, so did power. The monarchy built palaces that seemed spun from dreams, waged wars across half of Europe, and truly believed that God himself had blessed their empire with endless riches. For a while it seemed they were right. Across Europe, prices for everyday goods began to skyrocket. Historians now call it the price revolution. It wasn't caused by scarcity, but by the sheer volume of new money flooding the continent. A loaf of bread that once cost 1 real now costs 2, but Spain didn't care. It had silver to spare. That, at least, is what it told itself, because beneath the blinding shine of all that metal, something vital was quietly dying. Spain's ability to create real value. Why bother building when you can just buy? Why innovate when you can import? Why invest in your own people when you can simply dig treasure from the earth? Spain's wealth came to Italy, and easy wealth has a nasty habit of teaching all the wrong lessons. By the 1600s, the decline was undeniable. Spanish merchants weren't making goods anymore. They were just middlemen. Textiles came from the Dutch, tools from the English. Even the ships in their own navy were being built by the Genoese. Spain had all the gold and silver, yes, but it was paying every other nation to make everything it needed. The very silver that filled its coffers was leaking out through its fingers as fast as it came in. And as treasure flowed in from the New World, debt flowed out to the Old. The constant wars against France, the Ottoman Empire, the Dutch rebels, were all paid for with borrowed money. The same bankers in Antwerp and Genoa who financed Spain's military ambitions were quietly becoming the true masters of Europe's wealth. Spain mined the silver, but others managed it. It was a slow-motion disaster. The more treasure Spain brought home, the more it owed to everyone else. Then came the cruel twist. The source of it all, the mines themselves, began to falter. The legendary silver veins of Potosi started to run dry. Production fell. More ships were lost to brutal storms and brazen pirates. The once endless river of metal dwindled to a trickle. Suddenly, the empire that had built its entire economy on a mountain of treasure had to face an impossible question. What happens when the treasure runs out? The answer was brutal. Hyperinflation devoured the savings of ordinary people. Taxes rose to unbearable heights just to service the interest on the king's loans. The Spanish crown, the richest monarchy in the world, declared bankruptcy not once, not twice, but 6 times between 1557 and 1647. The wealthiest empire on earth was completely, utterly broke. Perhaps the most tragic part, Spain never even saw it coming. It wasn't destroyed by a foreign invasion, a great famine, or a massive rebellion. It was destroyed by its own abundance. It was hollowed out from the inside by the belief that wealth could come from digging, not doing. From extraction, not creation. From sheer luck, not hard labor. The minas of Potosi are still there today, deep in the mountains of Bolivia. They have another name. The mountain that ate men. Millions of indigenous laborers and enslaved Africans died horrible deaths pulling that silver from the earth. Entire cities were built on their suffering. And yet all that blood and all that treasure could unbuy Spain what it truly needed, a sustainable future. Because real wealth, the kind that lasts, doesn't come from what you pull out of the ground. It comes from what you build above it. By the late 17th century, Spain was a ghost of its former self. Its legendary fleets were smaller, its once proud industries were hollow husks, and the silver that had once made it mighty now just anchored it to decades of debt and decline. Meanwhile, the very nations that had once looked down upon the industrious Dutch, the ambitious English, were rising. They had learned how to use money, not just spend it. They invested in trade, in new technology, in finance. They built ships, colonies, and global markets that would long outlast Spain's depleted mines. History is cruel that way. It doesn't punish greed so much as it punishes complacency. Spain's story is a timeless mirror, reflecting the folly of every age that falls for the illusion of easy money. The gold rushes, the speculative bubbles, modern currencies multiplied with a keystroke, they all echo the same dangerous idea that more is always better. But when money grows faster than productivity, inflation is inevitable. When governments spend without restraint, debt becomes destiny. And when a nation forgets how to create, it begins to consume itself. The iconic Spanish silver coins, the pieces of 8, once ruled the world. They were the first truly global currency, accepted everywhere from London to Shanghai. Today, they're just museum pieces, beautiful reminders of an empire that mistook metal for meaning. If you look closely at one, you can almost hear the whisper of history. Easy wealth is never free. It always comes with a bill. And when that bill arrives, it's paid not in silver, but in sovereignty. Spain forgot that. It built its palaces on sand and called them eternal. It mined its future to pay for its present. And when the mines emptied, so did its destiny. The lesson is simple, but it's brutal. When wealth comes to Islay, it teaches you all the wrong habits. It rewards consumption over creation, blinds you to risk, and dulls your instinct for survival. And when that happens, when your entire prosperity rests on something that can be depleted, not on something that can be built, collapse isn't just a possibility, it's a schedule. The Spanish Empire didn't fall in a great battle. It fell in its belief system. It believed that oceans of silver could replace oceans of skill, that incredible fortune was the same as foresight, that sheer abundance meant security. But every empire that forgets where wealth truly comes from always remembers in the end, through loss. Through decline, and through the slow, painful realization that real value doesn't glitter, it endures. And when the glitter finally fades, only the builders remain. Thank you so much for watching. If this story gave you something to think about, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more dives into the lessons of history. We'll see you in the next one.